The UEFA Champions League encounter between Arsenal and Atlético Madrid was billed as the ultimate test of Mikel Arteta's progressive vision against the defensive dogma of Diego Simeone. What transpired, particularly in the second half, transcended mere victory. It was an act of tactical assertion, a swift, uncompromising 4-0 obliteration that delivered a profound shockwave through European football. This result was historic, marking the first time in Simeone's storied 13-year managerial tenure that his side conceded 4 goals within such a terrifyingly brief 13-minute window. The opening 45 minutes were defined by a patience that bordered on premeditation. Arsenal meticulously controlled 65% of the possession, engaging their high press and forcing Atletico into uncomfortable, deep defensive positions. Yet, the Spanish side, compact and disciplined in their 4-4-2 low block, refused to yield tangible chances, limiting the Gunners to speculative efforts. The single shot on target reflected the meticulous, yet often frustrating reality of facing world-class defensive resistance. The Emirates, however, was not restless. It was expectant. This quiet confidence stemmed from an understanding of Arteta's process. Exhaust the opposition, maintain structural superiority, and wait for the psychological fracture. The team exhibited a collective mental fortitude, trusting their system even when the immediate rewards were withheld. This patience, cultivated through seasons of near misses and high-pressure moments, is perhaps the most valuable intangible asset Arsenal currently possesses. They were, in essence, waiting for their opponent to blink first. The second half began with a clear demonstration of the game's razor-thin margins. Just 4 minutes after the restart, former Manchester City striker Julian Alvarez turned sharply and unleashed a glorious curling strike that clattered violently off the crossbar. It was the moment Atletico almost changed the course of the match. Its failure, however, was the ultimate catalyst for their downfall. Arsenal responded not with relief, but with clinical fury, initiating a bombardment that stripped Atletico of their discipline and shattered their identity. The reaction of both benches was telling. Simeone, the maestro of defensive resilience, saw his most carefully laid plans undone by the very vulnerability he prided himself on eliminating. His initial attempts to rally his troops, gestures demanding discipline and compactness, quickly faded into an expression of paralyzing disbelief. Conversely, Arteta's bench erupted, recognizing the tactical window had opened. The instruction was clear: raise the tempo of the switches and intensify the final third pressure. The breakthrough arrived via a free kick, a goal of immense tactical significance. For years, Simeone's teams have prided themselves on neutralizing set pieces. Here, the brilliance lay entirely in the delivery and the execution. Declan Rice, operating as the team's metronome, anchored the midfield and launched the ball with pinpoint precision. The trajectory and speed of the delivery were designed to bypass the zonal markers and target the run of Gabriel Magalhaes, who used his height and power to rise above the Spanish defense, guiding his header down into the turf and past Jan Oblak. This was the opening incision, proving that even Atletico's deepest trenches could be breached by structured, coordinated routines masterminded by set-piece coach Nicolas Jover. The goal immediately forced Atletico to abandon their rigid shell, exposing the precious space Arsenal craved. 7 minutes later came the goal that perfectly encapsulated Arsenal's evolving identity, a seamless transition of control into devastation. The play started with 19-year-old left-back Miles Lewis-Skelly, given his third start of the season. His moment of genius was not just the pace of his driving run from deep within his own half, but the scanning and spatial awareness that preceded the pass. Shrugging off multiple challenges, he threaded a perfectly weighted pass through a rapidly shrinking gap into the path of Gabriel Martinelli. Martinelli's finish was pure artistry, a single elegant touch to bend the ball around the outstretched arms of Oblak. This goal was a physical representation of Arteta's 4-phase plan, stabilizing the defense, developing tactical identity, evolving the attack, and finally, executing with consistent contention. The telepathic connection between the young duo demonstrated the successful integration of academy fearlessness with first-team philosophy, showcasing the speed and decisiveness that Atletico could simply not handle at that heightened tempo. The psychological blow landed by the second goal left Atletico visibly shaken. They had lost their shape and their nerve, and Arsenal, like apex predators, sensed blood. In the 67th minute, Victor Gyokeres pounced. His goal, a sharp turn and strike inside the box, was a reward for the relentless movement he maintains. The slight deflection served only to amplify the sense of inevitability surrounding Arsenal's attack. For a striker enduring a drought, this simple finish was a tidal wave of confidence. The fourth goal, just 3 minutes later, was the final nail in the coffin, echoing the set-piece success of the opener. Another Rice delivery, another Gabriel aerial win, this time knocking the ball back across goal, found Gyokeres, who bundled it home. 2 goals in 3 minutes for the center-forward was not just a match-winning contribution. It was a profound moment of redemption and rebirth for the Swedish striker, guaranteeing his confidence for the crucial matches ahead and freeing him from the mental burden of his recent silence. It is impossible to overstate the influence of Declan Rice. His role has evolved beyond that of a traditional defensive midfielder. He is the primary conductor of Arsenal's tempo and the chief architect of their structural stability. He anchored the midfield in the frustrating first half, winning tackles, breaking lines, and ensuring tactical discipline. In the second half, his technical quality shone through, evidenced by his masterful set-piece deliveries. He is the metronomic pivot, shielding the back line and ensuring every transition begins with intent. Against a high-caliber midfield like Atletico's, Rice's ability to seamlessly transition from deep defensive cover to an elite offensive contributor was the single biggest difference-maker on the pitch. His performance defined the gulf in midfield quality and highlighted his status as one of the world's premier central players. The collective individual brilliance only worked because of the underlying system. Atletico Madrid, a team that built their formidable reputation on discipline and the ability to grind out results against anyone, were simply overwhelmed. They were pulled into a high-tempo whirlpool that exposed the limitations of their system when facing punches in rapid, relentless succession. Their attempts to counter were immediately crushed by the Iron Gate defense marshaled by William Saliba and Gabriel, standing side by side like a modern fortress. This victory signifies a massive step in Arsenal's journey from a promising project to genuine, seasoned European contenders. They didn't just win, they controlled the environment. They didn't panic when frustrated. They trusted the process and exploded with purpose. This triumph follows their dismantling of Athletic Club and Olympiacos, cementing their flawless record atop the group and extending their impressive streak where David Raya has not conceded a goal in nearly 8 hours of football, a testament to the holistic defensive stability installed by Arteta. The team now perfectly balances logic, the tactical structure, the set-piece brilliance, with emotion, the sprinting joy of Martinelli, the smile of relief from Gyokeres. This 4-0 demolition, coupled with their 5-1 aggregate triumph over Real Madrid in the quarter-finals last season, sends an unmistakable message across the Iberian Peninsula and beyond. Arsenal has arrived as a major contender. Historically, Arsenal has often faltered against the steely resolve of Spanish giants in the knockout stages. This performance, however, suggests that the mental barrier has been shattered. The Gunners are no longer the naive side of old. They have evolved into a team that can win in multiple, terrifyingly efficient ways. By breaking you with set pieces, by blinding you with pace, and by clinically finishing the job with absolute composure. This victory is the clearest reflection yet of a cohesive, adaptable, and ruthless team ready to stake their claim at the highest level. The question is no longer about if they belong, but whether any opponent can match their intensity when they find this devastating gear.